Okay. A big thank you to Justin for that chat, for the session, and for all that information he gave us. With me right now, not Justin, one of Justin's colleagues, Mika. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm hearing myself with the multiple screens I've got to open, but there we go. Mika, thank you so much for joining us. Before we get into any of the
Yeah.
other questions that came through during the session, can you tell us what does XSOLLA
Mhm.
actually do?
Yeah. So just a very, very short intro because usually this is obviously time zone was a big issue for Justin to be able to take the Q&A, but I work with him very closely. I'm actually working for XSOLLA here in Berlin. Um, and I worked in the game industry, specifically in the mobile game industry, for about 15 years now. And this year joined XSOLLA and started working there on the business development side. So I have 15 years of background on the game industry, originally hailing from Finland. So it's coming from that. So just for context for my answers, I think that may be relevant. What is XSOLLA? What I would say, if you think about the easy way to kind of conceptualize this, and this is something that I used to even explain it to my mom and dad, who are completely out of the games industry. So, but they still know what is Steam and what is like Epic Game Store. Quite surprising amount of people know about these platforms. Like, what is what is the Apple App Store and Google Play Store? What are these? So basically, a very easy way to condense what XSOLLA is essentially just like any of these other platforms without the storefront. So essentially, we do everything and more than the Steams or Epic stores and other distribution platforms do. Um, but we do not have a storefront where the games are on display. But it is your opportunity to actually, put your own web page up, create your own web store, and then sell directly to players. So we enable that. So essentially, we're like a white label Steam or Epic Store or something similar to that. So we process. We're specializing on processing for 15 years. It's our bread and butter. Payments for different video games and specializing on the video game side of that. And then we created a suite of solutions that supplemented, influencer partner network, um, and funding club, as I'm sure Justin mentioned in his slides, and other solutions that really, all kind of trickle down on the core of it, which is really selling your game directly to your players. So it's an option that you can do that can coexist while you still have your game in different platforms. But we offer a way for you to sell your game to whoever, however you want it, to wherever in the world they may be. So this is just a way for you to kind of control your relationship with your players more directly. Hopefully that's a
Yes,
good enough
I
answer.
think that's a definitely good enough answer. I think if I understand it, anyone does. So that's good. I know that as soon as Justin started to talk about the funding club, there were a bunch of devs whose ears picked up immediately and said, "Yes, I want to be part of that." Is there a way? I mean, he did mention that there was a link that he put up, which I'm sure we'll share again later. But what is required to be in the funding club? How do devs get into that?
Yeah, I mean, anybody can basically apply. We have a website where you can directly apply and submit your game for us. Obviously, a funding club because we want to keep it in a level that we don't accept just any other game there. We actually have like quality standards that the games are in a good shape, that they're good enough to kind of be reviewed. So we actually play every single game that's going through there. So what I would suggest that before you submit, it would be always good to talk to somebody at XSOLLA, one of our business development people, such as me or Justin, and we have a bunch of other guys all around the world, because this is a way for them to understand the context of what you're trying to build, um, and what you really need in order to submit there. You can do this online; anybody can do it. You kind of the key materials for a pitch, for a good pitch, is obviously a pitch deck that describes what the game's vision is, the roadmap. You want to have a nice trailer that's short but kind of shows what the gameplay is, what are the unique selling points of your game that make it interesting and stand out. And then a gameplay demo as well, some sort of prototype or demo that's playable, that gives good enough representation, at least from the core gameplay, the kind of second to minute or minute to minute gameplay, not necessarily like hours long, right? But really the kind of condensing the essence on giving a teaser for what the game could be. And then it's important in your pitch deck to also mention the kind of what are the financials, why do you need X amount of money, how are you exactly going to use it, and how quickly your game is going to come out in the market, what is your business model, how you plan making money with the game, because the investors eventually they're looking to have some revenue, recoup their investment, and make some profits as well. So you have to think of it from that angle. So that's pretty much what I would recommend to do. Again, it's best to start by talking with some of us. Obviously, nothing prevents you from submitting there, but in order, if you want us to have better context, then it's good to have a conversation before.
Great. I do see that Nick and David have both put the link to that the funding club in the chat. So if you're interested in that, go and check it out. You mentioned the business model. You kind of have to have a vague idea, or at least a good idea, at least, of what your business model for your game is. One of the questions that came through is how can indies capitalize on this move to a subscription model of gaming?
Oh yeah, subscription model of gaming. I think it's really part of this larger trend that is games as a service. So when you think about like 10 years ago, we were starting to see games that were like World of Warcraft, that people like returned on a very long period of time, sometimes stopped playing for a year and then came back. So this trend has increased and increased and increased. There's more and more. Some of the most successful games are subscription based, and they are games as a service. And what that means is most of them are may have a premium price point. Some of them are free, but there is certainly almost always a way to monetize within while you play. So buying new content, buying certain currency packs that you can customize your player, or unlocking additional content. So subscription model is really something that, as a standalone service business model, I think it would be brave to do just subscriptions, and it really requires a unique product. But it's a great complement to free-to-play games that are heavy on kind of live operations, so that you have new content coming up like Fortnite every now and then, that there's a reason for you to subscribe. Like, what is the reason for you to subscribe to Netflix? Is to get new content in a steady manner. So you need to have a product that can act as a content platform. And usually we're talking about these need to be products that are built from the ground up to support this. And I think you need to design the product as an entertainment platform, the game, to serve new content. And once you have that, then that's where subscription and in-app, in-game purchases make sense, and the whole games as a service model is your way to go.
I have two questions that I'm kind of going to barrel into one. I hope you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that Justin mentioned was, the ATM, and the first part of that was getting their attention, getting people's attention to get access to pitch to them. So the first question is would it be worthwhile spending the money to hire a PR agency to help you grab that attention and to do that heavy lifting of getting people's attention? And then the second part is we have questions about getting a little bit more detail about what should go into a pitch deck. So is it worth getting help to get the attention? And once you have the attention, what should really be in your pitch deck?
Yeah. I think like PR agencies, help craft your story, but like that I think is something that usually comes into play when you have the good problem of already having a product or a game that you've seen that people have, significant interest to play and engage them, so that you see some early signs of, wow, this game could become a thing. There's a lot of popularity. Maybe your game gets unprecedented attention in Reddit, or you're getting a lot of wish lists out of one influencer just finding your game and getting excited about it. So you need to have the hallmarks of kind of good word to mouth for the product, virality, also some call it. And I think once you kind of have that, and you already established that the game is gathering attention and excitement in its own, I think that's when PR can kind of amplify the attention grab. I wouldn't use it as a sole strategy. Much like performance marketing, like coming from mobile background, usually what people do there, developers do, is they run test marketing campaigns just to measure the data points of how well their campaigns are performing, how well is the game performing. They're doing it this way. They're testing if the game has traction on marketing before they invest any larger sums into PR or more performance marketing or influencer marketing. So you really want to be able to do some sort of test to set the goals, what you want to see. There's a lot of good material out there on looking at some postmortems of successful games. What were the early hallmarks that they saw that this is going to be a huge thing? That would be a whole new talk here if I would go into that topic more deeper. But investigate that, like look at why and what are the early hallmarks of success for games, and try to define what those could be for your game.
And then if you do get that attention, what about the pitch deck? What specific things should we be looking for to make sure we include in a pitch deck?
Yeah, I think the pitch deck should just make you excited to play the game, really. Like pitch deck itself, just having a pitch deck isn't really nothing. It's worthless. Especially when you're talking about cross-platform or PC. On mobile, yeah, you can put some data points there, and when you have a mobile free-to-play game, and then people can say, oh, this is probably a good game. But like, you still have no clue what the game is. So it should just get you, first of all, get the attention of who you're showing it to, that they get excited, they want to play it, now they're excited, they want to play it out, they want to check your demo. Once you've done that, the game should do all the speaking, right? And then the things that you don't have in the demo, like for example, you're missing a set of features, those are the things that then you should list out in your pitch deck as well. And obviously your business goals, what are your business goals? Is the most important thing as well. That what do you want to do with the game? Like, where do you want to take it, and what do you need to do it?
I like that. I like the idea of just getting people excited about the game, and if it's good enough and exciting enough, you'll get their attention and hopefully get that funding. Just one last question about the funding, though. I know that we've been talking about different avenues of acquiring that funding, like the funding club. What is your opinion about crowdfunding for games?
Yeah, so I think crowdfunding has a lot of uncharted potential. We've seen a lot of Kickstarters and others that are out there are certainly doing well, and they're serving a certain market. But if you look at the modern game budgets, they're not small these days. They're growing, and for all platforms they're growing, because this fidelity and the graphics and screens are getting more able to render more and more detail. That kind of pushes the detail and the quality level higher, production quality higher, and thus budgets get higher. So one of the things that I think there's a lot of opportunity for, in the space of looking at project funding, where can you take that? Can you basically create something that is essentially like a crowdfunding, but also be able to supplement these bigger budgets? Talking about projects that could be up to millions. So I think we'll see next year. We will definitely see some interesting developments on that side. I think there's a lot of space in the crowdfunding, especially when it comes to like having more exclusive type of crowdfunding, and more targeted and more niche crowdfunding for specific type of games, specific type of platforms, and all across the entertainment industry and technology industry, of course. So I think that I'd like to see definitely that evolve, because there's a lot of room there.
Fantastic. I see Albert saying, thank you so much for the elaborate answer. So you've been giving us a lot of great information, a great place to start. Mika, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for answering our questions in the great way that you've been doing it. Again, go check out xsolla.com/funding, or just check out their website in general, see how you can work with them, see what kind of information you can get from them as well. Remember, this is a good time now if you want to start connecting with other people. Try that random networking feature that we have on Pine, or use the My Meetings feature to book some more meetings. The next session is going to be starting in about 10 minutes time. And so we will see you back then for the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.